man. So, uh,
Now recording.
yeah, we use robots around here to do all the manual labor. Back in the day, you had to have somebody write everything you were
I'm a
saying on
big
stone to
fan of
release.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So I like
Yeah,
to.
I'm in. I'm hopefully trying to get if we can get 100% automation for music, video, and podcasts. That's the ultimate goal. It's the only reason why I'm in this game. Really, I'm more of an AI guy than an entertainer.
That's really interesting. Actually, there's a few. I don't even know program oriented thinkers in the IMF server too. Specifically, Volps comes to mind. He built all the robots who work within like the server itself. Well, not the recording one. I'm sorry. I think he just
Yeah,
found that
I,
one.
I will that. Okay, I lied. I lied a little bit. I said that I was gonna get a banana. I don't know if you heard me say that, but the actual reality of the fact was I had a banana the whole time. I was trying to navigate this confusing website, if you would even call it a website. I'm here on upcoming events, IMF Discord guide, assign notifications,
Oh
one
my.
by one scroll notification there, general chat. Then I have to figure out the difference between general chat,
There are, yeah. It's
general chat about general topics, general chat about blogging.
it is a very confusing thing to start using. It reminds me of Reddit. The first time I went to Reddit, I just left immediately because it was confusing.
Oh yeah. Well, that's funny actually. I haven't thought about that in a long time. The first time you're on Reddit, it's kind of like, yeah, that was a weird kind of opening phase. Little did I know that I would spend pretty much every job I've ever had browsing website.
Yeah,
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 when I first went on it, and I always say ironic, and I have no idea what it means. Ironically, I went on Reddit because I was really lonely, and I was like, "Hey guys, how do you meet people?" And now I'm fully aware the place to ask that question. And two, nobody has an answer because that question is asked 50,000 times a day
yeah.
on every subreddit, regardless of whether it's about socialization. I'm sure we have a few IMF posts that are like, "Hey guys, I'm a lonely musician, just
Yeah,
learning how to use Reddit."
yeah. So I am hearing a lot of what you're saying, but there are parts that are breaking up. Am I coming through
All
clearly?
right. Yeah, okay, but can you give me 2 seconds and
Yeah, please take your time.
I'm gonna do some.
Nobody let me forget to ask him more about that banana story when he comes back, because I heard him talking about a banana, but I'm truly not sure where the banana.
Hello.
Hey, there you are. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can I just have 2 seconds and I'm gonna bring my computer into a room that has internet?
Yeah, please take your time.
The silence is killing me.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Good to have you back.
Is this better? I think this is better.
Yeah, it sounds clearer already.
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you, okay?
Please do.
I told you I was getting a banana, and then I said that what I was actually doing was I was trying to navigate the Discord server. I'll tell you what actually happened, okay? Is my Wi-Fi box is in a different room, and for some reason, I didn't consider that into the technological implications. So I'm sitting here, and I've moved everything closer to the Wi-Fi box. So I'm sitting with a giant oversized microphone in my hand. It's actually quite hilarious. If you could see it, it is hilariously big. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for the quality of the IMF community. This is what we want, guys. This is what we want. Woo!
Yeah, this is exactly what we want. I think you should try to find some way to snap a selfie, as the kids say, and show us this oversized microphone. I do have one just immediate question. Why aren't your bananas closer to your Wi-Fi box? This seems like just bad planning in general.
I'm kind of, I wish you didn't mention it, because the banana was originally in the kitchen, then it moved to the living room, and then into the studio. Now it's from the studio back into the living room. So I'm in the living room now.
Okay.
With terrible acoustics and no banana because I forgot my banana.
Oh, well,
but anyway.
Yeah, we'll have celebratory bananas once we get through the game portion of this show, because your only real criteria for the game was you wanted it to be a battle, so it's just called battle and it's chaos.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I was so happy when you told me that. I was like, ooh, thank God. Because if you told me it was called, like, I don't know, hug time friendship, I would have had to say I'm sorry, I'm busy. My Wi-Fi box is broken.
Yeah.
Has the show begun? Is this the show?
Oh yeah, I mean it's basically already started. I will at some point start reading questions from a document.
How long have we been on the show?
Since the first time you tried to tell me about your banana, but I could not hear you.
Come on, man. All right, well, okay. Let me just you edit this into the start of the show, okay?
Okay, will do.
Hello, can you hear me? Is my audio okay?
Yes, it is. It is flawless.
It's perfect.
First try.
Time.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. All right, well, that's just beginner's look with the Stay Creative podcast.
Absolutely.
The Stay Creative podcast with Chris T-Rex Jones Reeves. Do you like to give out your full name? I think I saw it on your email.
I am an open book.
Okay, Chris T-Rex Rex Reeves. Stay creative. Stay. Subliminal messaging. Is your show, it's a subliminal message so that no one logs off when the guest is clearly incomprehensible and rambling?
Well, honestly, it's occasionally the guests make a little too much sense. So I think it is time this late into creating this show that somebody comes on and makes no sense at all. So I'm very grateful for you to be here. I'm also
God, you're needing some nonsense, some nonsense, which is great because I'm usually in the opposite position.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get into the questions I do have for you, I'd like to just thank everybody who's listening as well. They all, I think, honestly, some people before you and I made contact, I cannot remember who it was, told me to look you up and see if I could interview you. I hope they are listening right now. I do not remember who it was though. So
was it a stranger or like someone that you know, someone from IMF?
It was somebody whose opinion I cared about. So they're probably around. I just can't remember exactly who it was.
All right. Well, let me just make a shout out to that person.
Yeah.
Whoever you are, get the hell away from my Instagram profile. Get away from my Facebook. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to see you. You're talking about me behind my back to Chris T-Rex Reeves? Come on, man. Say it's my face. I'm sick of people talking behind my back. But anyway.
Yeah. I agree. And, I take my thank you back to that person. I did not think about it in that context, but good call. But
thank you. Anytime.
Very first off.
Go ahead. Let me ask you a question here. Okay. So, sorry, I'm derailing your show, but that's
not at all.
It's gonna happen. I'm sorry.
I knew what I was getting into.
So, exactly, because you, sir, you're an interviewer with a prerogative, and that prerogative is, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. So here we are in a server, and we have Craig, we have Av, we've David. All these people are real people, but just sitting silently in the auditorium. Oh, here's a newcomer, Dalwedge. So they're just sitting in the digital auditorium. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, so if you are, I know, Discord has not been friendly to you so far, but if you click the hashtag interviews channel, there are people saying things through
Oh,
text. They're just not chiming in with audio.
because so I have my own podcast, the Pockethole podcast, and I usually like to talk to the audience and the listener, but I have no real-time feedback. So this is great.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna try not get too into that because I'll just start reading the messages, and the
Well,
whole show will be a comment on the comment section.
hey, man, that is another thing that at times has been painfully ignored in my time with guests. So if
Oh
you see a
yeah,
comment you need to talk to, take it.
yeah.
It's perfectly
I
fine.
love comments. I love comments. But anyway, enough of this bull honky. Let's get on with the show. Chris T-Rex Reeves, you have a question for PDF Pockethole. Let's hear it.
I have so many questions for PDF Pockethole, and you have only convoluted all of them
Yeah, exactly.
so
I
far.
need
So,
to get in there first.
very first thing that I need to know is just a quick or long or slow introduction of yourself. I need to know more about who you are, where did you grow up, when did you start making music, the entire resume for PDF Pockethole. Tell us about yourself.
Right. Well, I would love to just say that my opening monologue there is more than enough of an explanation, but that's just frustrating, okay? I'd love to say that just to annoy people, but you've been so kind here that I'd like to give you an actual genuine answer. May 15th was the day it all began. And you've had a previous episode with Neon M. That's correct, Neon
Yeah.
M. And he said it was recently his birthday, his musical birthday, in which he released his first track. But he only remembered because he had the memories thing on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I very vividly remember the very first day, posted my first track, Lamenting Modesto, which we won't get into because the themes of which are too adult for life, NSFL. But I've been recording music since I was about 13, or maybe even younger. And I've always been doing it for fun, but May 15th was the first time that I decided, all right, I'm not just gonna put out a track and see what happens. I am PDF Pockethole, and this is me letting the world know that this is what I do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome. So before that point, you were making.
There was nothing before that point.
Wow.
Nothing
Okay.
ever happened. I was born on May 15th, 2009, and the events previous to which can only be pieced together retrospectively, kind of like the movie Memento.
Okay. Okay. I think that's the one where the guy has a bunch of tattoos, right?
I haven't actually seen it, but judging from the title, I assume it's about memories or something.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but I'm gonna believe from now on it's about your life before May 15th, 2009.
Memento is about a meta-modern musician who releases his first music video on YouTube. It's
Yeah.
directed by David Lynch.
Yes. Oh my goodness. If it's directed by David Lynch, I've probably seen it. I was just inebriated and don't remember. Anyway, thank you for that.
I know I didn't answer the question, but that's kind of the point. So.
Oh yeah, that's
We'll move
fine.
on
That's
now.
fine. Yeah. Hey, when I told people I was going to have you on the show, the only thing I could say you was a musician and maybe a masked vigilante. So it was hard to say exactly what you were. So I think protecting that mystique is important at this point.
Thank you, because I have had interviews with other people where they will immediately try and get my real name out of me or something like that. So I would like to immediately set the tone
Yeah,
and let
good.
you know that nothing of interest or worth or value will happen here. So anyway, having said that, let's get on with the show.
Heck
Stay
yeah.
Creative Podcast with T-Rex Chris Reeves.
That's me. That's us. That is what's
That's you.
happening right now. Yeah. Yeah. So I would like to. I love that you have such a precise date. If you right now, as full-grown PDF Pockethole, could communicate a message, however PDF pocket holes communicate, probably through like dimensional pocket holes of some sort.
I've never heard a plural of PDF Pockethole.
I
That's
like
the
to believe
first
you're a
time.
species, like a Pokemon or something. You know.
Me too. You know, I've never thought of it. I thought I was kind of like, like Ratchet and Clank, the last Lorax. I thought I was kind of like the last pee hole out there, but yeah, maybe there's more. We'll see.
Yeah.
I
If
mean,
you-
there are many PDF files, PDF
That's true.
pocket hole files.
And that actually increases the difficulty of finding anything out about you, because if you Google anything with PDF in the title, it just starts telling you about portable document files.
Yeah, and even worse, if you look up PDF pocket hole, there's a pocket hole jig, which is infuriating me to no end. It's a sort of metalworking tool called a pocket hole jig. And let me just make this straight: I've nothing to do with jigs. I don't know what a jig is. I've never jigged. I assume I never will. But yeah, PDF pocket hole. Sorry, was there a question? I feel like I've made a tangent on a tangent.
Man, tangents are perfectly fine. I will find a place to put questions. But one I always like to ask folks is if you right now, as yourself, could send a message back to May 14th, 2009, the absence of PDF Pockethole, to that endless expanse of universe that was about to become PDF Pockethole, what would that message to them be?
Well, I thought about that a couple of years ago very deeply, and now I just have to say in advance, Memento, it was actually directed by Christopher Nolan, not David Lynch. Now, I know they're both very famous directors, but they shouldn't be confused with each other. That's just ridiculous.
That's true.
Christopher Nolan directed Memento, and roughly, so when was Memento? I
thought you were telling me your life was directed by David Lynch.
No, David Lynch was directed by my life. 2001, Memento came out on January 19th, 2001. So that would have been 8 years after the release of Memento. What would I have said to myself? That's the question that you were trying to ask me?
Pretty much.
Okay, so, back in 2009, I was really into Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I was busking on the streets of Dublin couple of years ago playing Californication. It's a little song you might have heard of by an American band called the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was playing Californication and I thought my younger self would be so proud of me right now, playing Californication on an acoustic guitar with some guy slapping that drum box thing that sounds like absolute dog refuse. And I thought that was the highlight of my career. So what I would say to my younger self is, you are so stupid that you have no idea the myriad ways in which your life is going to change, and that the things that you think are cool and worthwhile now are just the fantasies of a young boy who still thinks Samurai Jack was a great nostalgic program.
Fantastic. I think I've had a lot of answers to that question, and none of them have ever been in the tough love category, I'd say.
Yeah, actually, yeah, okay. I was wondering how that sentence was going to end, and you're right. That's a very good point. I'm very harsh on my past self, and it's mainly because he's made my life so difficult in so many ways, and quite frankly, it's my younger self's fault that I even got to this point. The series of failures have just culminated in this interview, I suppose.
This is the pinnacle of your series of failures. It can only get better from here,
Exactly, yeah. I mean, this is like a success, but just the chart is turned upside down. That makes sense.
Yeah. The valley of success. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's
so,
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, you continue. It's your show. I'm hijacking you.
No. I enjoy everything you're saying.
Wow. Man, I need to get myself into a physical relationship that sounds like that.
Well, awesome. I will move on to my next just kind of thought, I would like you to introduce the first of your songs that we're going to listen to all together.
Oh.
Fake Celebrity. And I think it may actually have a longer name, but the file, that's the name of the file you sent me. So what is the full name, and tell me some about making it and what it's about.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm a very, as you've become just aware of, very self-critical person. I hate myself so dearly more than any other person. But at the same time, I know myself so well that I can sympathize and empathize with myself, kind of a skill that I've learned throughout the years. And so this song, full title, Fake Celebrity Facebook Profile, it's about a fake celebrity Facebook profile. And I think the reason why I love this song, it's okay to say you love your own song, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Now, I don't love all my own songs, don't get me wrong. I think some of them are some of the worst pieces of music ever to be created. It's shocking to me and critics alike that they've ever been recorded, let alone released. But anyway, this song, Fake Celebrity Facebook Profile, my life may seem a bit absurd to people, but a lot of songs are just about real experiences that happened. And so when I was... Actually, it was probably about 2009. I made a fake account of Emilio Estevez, Charlie Sheen's brother, on Facebook.
The coach from the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, he was in, what's that called? Young Guns? Young
Yes.
Guns 1, Young Guns 2. I believe there might have been a Young Guns 3. He was in The Breakfast Club, but primarily known for our generation as being Charlie Sheen's less successful brother, I think. So I made an account for him, and I got hundreds upon hundreds of friend requests, people saying they knew Emilio Estevez. And as sort of a side note, I also became... I felt like I was famous. I felt like that was my first taste of fame, being Emilio Estevez. But as a kind of preface to the fake celebrity, I just tell a quick story about how someone has the same name as me. And that was what originally inspired me to create the Facebook profile, was secondhand fame. So the song is entirely about being famous just by having some sort of similar name to someone who is actually famous and has worked for that for their whole life.
That is it's funny. We have something vaguely in common on that point, because Christopher Reeves is also a guy who played Superman. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's so. Yeah, that is exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm talking to someone who. I'm preaching to the choir here.
Yeah,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That explains why this song speaks to my soul so clearly.
But so the thing about Fake Celebrity Facebook Profile and the music video that goes with it. So there was another famous person called PDF Pockethole, believe it or not. And this PDF Pockethole was the star of a show called Knife Maniac. So I'm watching Knife Maniac on TV, and it says starring PDF Pockethole. Now that's the name of the actor, not the character in the show.
Yeah, obviously.
And obviously, yeah. I mean, like, to name a character PDF Pockethole doesn't make sense, but I'm watching the credits. Oh my god, that guy has my name. And everyone starts messaging me on Facebook thinking that I'm the PDF Pockethole from the show Knife Maniac. But instead of telling them, no, you've made a mistake, I kind of reveled in it. And then when they kill off the character in Knife Maniac, I've had a taste of blood now. And yeah, that's once you know that your name is Chris Reeves, and that, I mean, I'm sure you walk down the street and people say, oh, Chris Reeves. Oh, not that Chris Reeves.
Yeah.
But the initial elation of being recognized, it's a thrill.
It's something else. You can get addicted to that pretty quick.
Has that happened to you, that specific situation?
I work on the phone, basically. Like I'm always taking calls and sending emails, and once a day somebody says, oh, like Superman? And I say, yes, like Superman.
That's not the most notable thing about Christopher Reeves, though.
He was an interesting figure.
So do you want to play Fake Celebrity Facebook?
I do. I would really like to push play on this song. So I am going to share my screen, you just have to click that, and I'm gonna hit play.
Oh. Okay, cool.
I'm gonna mute my mic, but it's your song. You feel free to comment anywhere you need to.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. I love this. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Fake Celebrity Facebook Profile on the T-Rex podcast.
I've got a famous namesake, the same name as a fictional man in a widely acclaimed TV show. I've a relatively famous namesake, the same name as a character played by a handsome American actor. I've got a newfound fame now.
I like the harmonies on
Obsessed
this.
fans of the hit TV show have stared at me on Facebook. I've a relatively newfound fame now. I've been thinking of unique ways which I can use this to my benefit somehow.
And then a dramatic shift into the moment where Matilda, my biggest fan, messages me.
Message from Matilda saying, hey, how are you doing? I'm a big fan of your acting. Are you working on the movie from the moment that you sent it to the time of my reply? I was thinking of excuses not to use this to my advantage. Who's this is what I asked her. Your fan Matilda. I felt so famous. I acted grateful. 2 months later my inbox overflows with a dozen bars. It appears they killed my namesake in the finale of season 5. I felt so famous. I acted grateful. I had a taste, now I'll kill for a mouthful.
And here's an elaborate interlude that used to have a narration over it, but it was too distracting, so now I'm doing this. Gotta love the narration. You're still listening to the Stay Creative podcast.
I run a fake celebrity Facebook page now. Of a certain celebrity, famous mainly in the 80s. His fans are gullible, none of them skeptical. They should be skeptical, they should be skeptical, they should be more skeptical.
How are you doing? I wish you would make some more movies. I love the movie you directed and Lou and Christian Slater. If you were my husband, I would do anything you want. I would do anything you want. I would do anything you please. I would do anything you command. I'll be yours. I would like to hear from you very much. Toronto fan Mark Smiley. I also have cancer. In the new year, it's me again. I was hacked, but guess what? Johnny Depp asked me to marry him. Real life stories when I'm sexually frustrated. I hope I was not bothering you. I hope I was not bothering you. Hello, bro. I almost forgot here my contact numbers. 907 398 346.
Well, funny thing about that, the little outro bit with all the electronic voices, those were all messages that I actually got to the Emilio Estevez Facebook page.
That's awesome. Did you put them into a reading bot and use like a text to audio tool of some kind, or did robots leave messages for Emilio Estevez?
It was just one person who had an incredibly unique voice. I think at the time I was living in Holland and I had no recording equipment. So at the time that those particular messages were recorded, I think it was just Google Translate, and I just put the microphone up to my computer speaker.
Okay.
And I had those messages for years until I bothered to actually make the song. And then I thought, like, oh, I'll just go to my library full of unused audio messages for Emilio.
Yes, that is That's incredible. I feel like unused audio messages for Emilio could be an entire like genre of music.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking of making wow, this is mad actually. Thinking back in it years ago, I was thinking of making a YouTube channel where I just talk about messages that people send to Emilio Estevez, the fake page. And weirdly, the way things have gone, you can't do that anymore because that is probably illegal,
Yeah.
you know, like
Probably.
with Russian bots and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
Awesome.
sad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so there's something about your music that I need to express and give you a moment to comment on, and that is
Cool.
just that it's almost like noise rock without the harshness of the noise. It's like sound rock. There's so many layers of sounds and noises. Like, what does it look like? What did that song look like the first time you sat down and started putting sounds together? Was it immediately that cacophonous, or was it a single layer that sounded kind of like a song, and then you started throwing crazy stuff on it?
I have to say, first of all, sound rock is I'm probably going to steal that on you. Sound
It's
rock.
all yours.
It's like rock music, but, with sound.
Made out of sounds, yeah.
Yeah, made out of sound, yeah. It's a sound castle. So,
Yes.
when I was first making that song, I just moved to Holland and I had no equipment. I just had when I was first making it, I was doing the genuine fake Facebook page thing for fun, and the song kind of came out of a reaction to that. And I was slowly getting equipment into my apartment. I was getting a guitar, loads of pedals, a MIDI keyboard. And so I started putting that song together, and it used to be a whole different thing. There was like additional segments. So the song is kind of split into 3 segments. It's like the start bit where someone has the same name as me, and then I get the thrill of secondhand fame. Then there's a second bit where my character's killed off, and then the third bit where I want to create this fake Facebook page. So originally, no one had the same name as me, so that just wasn't part of the song. So the whole song was just one like incredibly deranged tangent all about Emilio Estevez. And I listened back to it then, I'd say 4 years later, and I loved the song and I loved the track and I loved the drums, but I just had to give it a bit more lyrical context.
Yeah.
And I get that question a lot from people who are saying like, what does that look like, or how does that come about? And now the problem is you're asking a person who has the ability to make that. You're asking for a reasonable answer, but that's just never going to happen.
Yeah.
I think the only way to get that answer is if I talk to a therapist and the therapist can tell you why it sounds that way.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so. It's almost like the level of madness and chaos a person needs to harness to create it immediately negates their ability to communicate it in human in human words. Yeah. I understand, and I love it. I appreciate it, and I all of your tracks are unique in even like the voice you use throughout them. But they all sound exactly like PDF Pockethole after a little while. You're like, okay, yeah, I get it. I see what he's doing, even though I cannot explain what he is doing.
Yeah, and that's the most harrowing part of the process, is that like everything makes sense to me, but I have to kind of base the music on some gut reactions from other people sometimes. So there was a song, one of my favorite songs that I will eventually release, is called The Sabbath, and it's about God having a dinner date with Satan and the kind of misinformation about their feud. They're actually quite good friends, because when you think about it, the social circle of gods and, I don't know, anti-gods, it's quite small. So you're going to end up socializing with other demigods and the likes. So I wrote a song about that, thinking that it was my most normal song, kind of a romantic ballad, I thought. And I showed it to a girl I was going out with at the time, and she just kind of looked at me like I'm worried for you, and please don't put this out because it'll be embarrassing for me. I still think it's a great song, but I'm now aware that my idea of creating a romantic ballad is not. It's not how it's going to be perceived. So
Yeah.
you just kind of have to have some self-awareness that, listen, put this out. It will be strange, but there will be some equally as strange people who will understand it and for some reason want to promote it on a podcast.
Yeah.
Unknown to me.
Yeah, so that actually kind of leads into just another question I wanted to ask, and that is, you have your own podcast, like you've mentioned. You've got quite a bit of music that's been released. You've got some level of following. I could probably say people who are
You
who
say
are
that you're so bewildered by the words that you've just said.
Well, it's not my bewilderment. I'm trying very hard not to say you're famous, because that's an absurd word.
Well, it's a word that I would like to hear very much.
Okay. You are well known, well liked, and you have a group of fans who love your music, and I need to know, like, how did you build a following around you literally doing whatever you want with sound and people loving it, people eating it up?
Yeah, I think. Well, not that I think. I know the reason is because I just don't. I mean, I hate to say I don't care, because that obviously, like, I care very much about what I make, but I just. So say for example, you said that I have a following and that I'm well liked. I would disagree about the well liked part, because I have many enemies, some constructed by my own hand, some just collateral damage.
Yep.
But yeah, what I've realized is there's just two types of people who react to PDF Pockethole. There's people who are like, I've never heard anything like this, and I would like to investigate further, and that's just the process in itself. I don't need to tell someone what they like. I just make the thing, and if they like it, then they know where to go from there.
Yeah.
And then there's the people who listen to it and they're like, I don't like this. I hope I never hear this again. I think it's wrong. I think it's detrimental to sincere music. So I suppose because of the polarity of those two arguments, I've just stopped even bothering to expect a reaction, and it's easier to just put things out and then just work on the next thing. And I suppose, what's the word? What's the thing that rises to the top? The dead bodies. They
Yeah.
say something. They say something about something rises to the top. If it's good, it'll always rise to the top. So I think it's just a case of look at all these people in the chat here.
Boiled eggs, I think.
Look, Francis Gaines says, I really want to hear the song now. And our reaction would be, why? But it doesn't matter why. It's just, like, I just go with it, and that's just how PDF Pockethole works.
Yeah.
Cream rises to the top. Thank you,
Cream
everybody.
rises to the top. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oil
Yeah.
on water. That's what I was thinking too.
So many things rise. It's kind of a. It's like they should have like a short list of things that rise and just mention them all each time they're,
Fire rises.
Fire.
The chat, and this is another thing about PDF Pockethole. I seem to just make people feel that they can reveal their inner insanity. And right now, I think the group chat is exemplifying that, because now there's a huge tangent about things that rise, and I think that's essentially the ethos of PDF Pockethole. Is like, before you even know you're engaging with the content, you're already making your own thoughts and like fanning off into your own little tangents, and essentially getting lost in Pocket World is what I would like to happen.
That's awesome. So to some extent, like, you create this music, you create this podcast, but your persona is like a unspoken invitation to just be weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
people want that. People want to be told they are allowed to be weird.
because someone else is doing it way worse than they are. So it's like, when you have a really loud, boisterous, obnoxious person in the room, you can easily just slip a few off-color comments under the radar, because that guy is so, like, taking up all the attention.
Yeah.
The way I like to view myself is, I force two people to shoot each other with guns, and then I jump in the middle of them, and they both kill me instead. That's me.
Man, I don't know if that was an appropriate thing to laugh at, but the imagery is wild. And I have this weird feeling if anybody in that story, in that situation, is going to survive getting shot twice, it's you. You know, I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's the most. That's the best part about it is that I gave them rubber bullets. They didn't even know. They thought they were killing me, and that's the kind of 4D chess that I'm trying to play here.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I just want to say I take back my hesitance to use the word famous. You're the most famous person I've ever met in my life.
Thank you so much. And I mean, I'm hesitant to say thank you because obviously I already know, but it's kind of just a courtesy, I suppose, at this stage.
For sure. All right, I would like to play this game. My wife always
yeah.
helps me plan these games out, and last night we came up with so many insane ideas, just ideas that did not make any sense. And we decided by the end, let's just mix all those ideas together and make them the game. So, luckily, the explanation of the game is very simple. I will need audience participation at each phase of this game, but it's called Battle, and I'll give you the first prompt, and we will we'll resolve that, and then we'll move on to the next one. So the very first situation tomorrow, first thing in the morning, as soon as you open your eyes, you are being hunted by 30,000 untamed, savage house cats.
Excellent.
They will be absolutely out for your blood. If they see you, they will pursue you until you are dead or they are dead. 30,000. You get to choose one weapon, one location to start in, and one ally from any time in history, fiction, or nonfiction. So go ahead and give me your answers.
So, I mean, I think it would be a wise idea not to do this game again with someone else because that could be a very difficult position to put someone in. But I'm very glad that you specifically crafted that scenario for me because first thing that comes to my head, nuclear bomb, obviously.
Ah.
I mean, okay, so what was it? There's the cats. How do I take them out? I can use any weapon.
You have to survive until night. I'm sorry, I didn't specify that. You just have to survive.
Oh no, because I was just gonna say, like just kill myself in a nuclear blast and kind of two birds, one stone situation.
Yeah, win.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so if I have to survive, that's different. I would, I've always fantasized about having a real blunt object and just like going at it, like some sort of video game where you're never supposed to win. And yeah, I would like to. Okay, you know what I would like is if it's like a worldwide thing. A select amount of people are battling. How many cats is it again?
30,000.
30,000. Where am I? Am I in my apartment or am I in?
The second part of the question is where do you wake up that morning? You get to pick a spot.
Oh, I get to pick a spot. Okay. Well, I would probably. Well, okay. So the night before, I'm gonna have to, wake up in the next spot. So the night before, I'd like to have a good night out. I'd probably let's just say south of Spain because that's where I am right now. It's easy to imagine.
Yeah.
I'm in the south of Spain. I'd probably spend a couple of hours going around a couple bars. I'd stay up all night. I wouldn't go to sleep. I'd get really drunk and whatever else all night. And I'd stay. I'd be there with my blunt object, a pipe maybe.
Okay.
Oh no, it'd be good. There's this Irish game called hurling, and hurling is essentially a brutal sport in which two teams of people have sticks, and they have to smack a really small ball into a giant goal. But the reason people watch is because there's an incredible amount of violence and damage. So I'd take the hurley stick from that game, and I think I'd just walk around town, just smacking any cat that came across my path.
Okay.
And just kind of like, you're never going to kill them all. So I'd probably just try and get a high score. If I had an ally, I'd like to be someone I'd be competitive against. I'd probably pick the President of Ireland just to see. Because, I mean, he represents Ireland, I'd like to see if I'm better than the president in just a very simple kind of, in a human sort of way.
Yeah, whack a cat.
Yeah, whack a cat.
I like it. Okay, so now we go to the audience listening. I need a simple yes or no from everyone listening. Would he survive this cat onslaught with a hurling stick, a president, and walking around town?
Volps is right in the chat. Doesn't the president have 2 dogs? Yeah, no, people aren't. Oh no one. Yeah, no one thinks that I'm gonna survive this. I got a maybe from Av, which is, something.
I think maybe is the only honest answer. Obviously, the integrity of the warrior is what really determines the success. But
I love the way some people feel the need to kind of coat their answer in polite language, like probably not. But other people are just straight out no, like no politeness involved. This man simply will not survive. Next question.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so it looks like you did not survive your first night on Murder Cat Island.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a philosophy that I hold very dearly, is that expect less and you'll be satisfied with a maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you've really set yourself up well for the next section of this quest.
For the battle!
Yeah. So the next day you wake up and we're gonna retroactively say you do indeed survive, because that's required for the next part of this to win. No, you're definitely dead. We're counting the amount of deaths. You have died once at this point. But the next day, if you hadn't, your ally has taken your weapon and is now hunting you. So the president of Ireland has taken your hurling stick and is coming after you. However, get one common house pet blown up to the size of a Tyrannosaurus Rex to help you. What animal do you choose?
I get one house pet to giant size. Now, this is actually working against my favor because I have a terrible fear of things that are giants that are supposed to be small.
Oh.
It's very specific, but it horrifies me. I don't know if you ever saw that film, Eight-Legged Freaks, about the giant spiders.
I know of it. I don't think I ever saw it.
I think that's where my fear came from, because when I was a child, I saw that on TV, not knowing that it was a piece of fiction. And for many, many years, things that are small should never be giant. So I would almost... What's one thing that's okay to be Tyrannosaurus Rex sized? A house pet? It has to be the biggest pet that you can possibly get. So could I get... Oh, you know what? I'd love to get a T-Rex sized pigeon.
Okay. It is now, yeah, absolutely. I think if you took the feathers off a pigeon, it would look a lot like a T-Rex anyway, so...
Yeah, because, birds are ancestors of... Dinosaurs are ancestors of birds. But anyway, that's a topic for another podcast.
What did I just join? The fuck is this?
Hey, who's this here now? We got a friend online? Wait, did people voluntarily mute their mics? Or is that something that you forced people?
They're supposed to mute to listen in, but some folks don't know that, so I just mute them intentionally.
I think you need to take. Oh, so you have the power. Okay, right. We're back on track. I have a T-Rex sized pigeon, Michael D. Higgins, the president of Ireland, with his 2 dogs, and actually one of them died today, which is probably why he's in my mind. So what I would do is, first of all, you need to get the dog away from the president. So then you're on a mano-a-mano kind of situation, me hand-to-hand combat with the president. So to get rid of the dog, I suppose I'll leave my Tyrannosaurus Rex pigeon to the side momentarily because I need him for later date. So I'm going to send my pigeon to the bird food factory, okay? And he's off doing a side quest, and I'm here with the president. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. Very simple tactic. Squeaky toy out the window, dog's gone, problem solved. Me and the president were alone, and I say to him, like, you want to get this? You want to get this? You know, Borat film. He's very big fan.
Okay.
You want to get this? Yes, you like. And I just keep doing Borat references walking down the street, hoping to lure him into a sort of a curious kind of. I want him to be curious but angry.
Ah, yes,
So,
yes.
So I'm leading him along. He's like, "What's this guy talking about? I still want to kill him, but like, what's with all these Borat references?" Walking down the street, like, "Oh yes, Yeshamish, high five," and then, but he doesn't even know it. But we're at the bird food factory, okay? I lather him up in glue because I had glue the whole time. You didn't even know that, and you're the host of this podcast.
I
Glue
didn't.
in
You
the back pocket.
You snuck that in somehow, past security.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the thing. You always have to plan in advance. Always. So we're at the bird food factory. Smother him in glue. I let him get a few shots as I'm walking in the door of the factory, just so he feels motivated to keep going. Like, oh no, you got me with the pipe in the head. Now he feels like he has a chance of winning. But we're walking up these metallic stairs, clinking, clink, 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 all the way up the top of the stairs. And we're on top of this giant vat. We're overlooking a vat. And we have this kind of power struggle. And me and the President of Ireland are kind of like wrestling each other. And basically in a move similar to an arm wrestling match, I will make him think that he's about to win and he's going to throw me over. And the next minute, bam, President full of glue falls into a vat full of bird food. The ceiling tears open. My giant Tyrannosaurus Rex-sized pigeon comes in and says, "Ooh, bird food." And now because he's a giant, this is going to seem like an insignificant portion of food. So the bird is starving. He's like digging into that food like he's so hungry. He's never had a proper meal in his life. And essentially he just pecks the President of Ireland to death. The dog does a kind of Lassie type adventure, hops on a steamboat over to the United States and makes a living as an actor.
Yeah. Again, win-win-win, you know? You're really good at finding the best possible solution for every person involved. Everybody except the President of Ireland involved.
Everyone except he has undoubtedly gotten the bad end of the stick in that inauthentic scenario. But we need every good story needs a sacrifice.
That's true, yeah. And I think, don't be president if you're not willing to sacrifice, That's
exactly, yeah.
It's rule number.
In fact, he was probably the best enemy in that kind of sense because he was always willing to lose.
Exactly.
He always knew it was an option.
So I need everyone to evaluate the situation that was just explained to us and tell me, does Mr. PDF Pockethole survive day 2 of his time on Battle Island?
And also, the vote in the chat will be a good indicator of, was anyone actually listening to that? Is my microphone working? Are we still live?
I think we are. I think they're all just deeply it's a win. Yeah, they're all just deeply enchanted by your storytelling skills.
Well, I'm glad that I could turn it around. I'm glad that we have a bit of everything here. The first battle may have been lost, but overall, I'm looking to win the war, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, right. How bloodthirsty is the pigeon after pecking the president to death? Oh shit, no. Sorry, profanity. Oh my golly goodness. Oh geez, oh my. How bloodthirsty is the pigeon after pecking the president to death? That is an excellent question. And now, my whole battle plan was in anticipation of the fact that it would end when I win. But as Tone Deaf Jeff has quite aptly put it, is there an epilogue? There's a
chapter 3 to this story, but I do think you have received enough survival votes that you have survived day 2 successfully. You and your absurdly large pigeon, who's still, I can only imagine, still hungry after one president and one vat of birdseed down. So
it's amazing that I ever had him as an ally in the first place.
It is.
What I did to entice and romance that pigeon is beyond me, but it's probably similar to the fact that PDF Pockethole has fans somehow. It's somewhat
somehow, yeah. All right. So the next day, unfortunately, that animal is still hungry and has now turned its sights on you. But you're in luck. You get one Tom Hanks character from any Tom Hanks movie to help you fight this pigeon and survive the third day. What Tom Hanks character do you choose?
Okay, so do I have to fight the pigeon? Because I think, I'll be honest with you, my instinct now is what I do in every sort of situation post-conflict, and is just run and hide and wait till everyone has forgotten the terrible occurrence that I've just, manslaughtered the president.
Yeah, I'll say the pigeon's after you. You don't have to be after it. You just have to survive day 3.
Well, I mean, I think it's quite obvious now. Tom Hanks' character, have you ever seen the movie Terminal? Where Tom Hanks successfully lives in an airport terminal for pretty much the entire movie. I don't remember what happens in the end.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have seen that movie.
So, I mean, well, actually, it's a throw-up between Terminal and Castaway, because in Castaway, Tom Hanks also plays a guy who successfully goes under the radar on an island, and he has a bit of fun with it. Actually, I like Castaway better, because in Terminal, Tom Hanks is you don't want to hide with a boring, foreign, no English speaking Tom Hanks. You want to live on an island with football playing Tom Hanks.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, sporty Tom Hanks, athletic. He can have a chat. Wait, so is Tom Hanks on the Castaway Island?
No, you have magically teleported him to your aid.
Oof.
From wherever the character was.
Well, now Tom Hanks is gonna hate me. Tom Hanks is gonna hate me for that. So now I've got 2 enemies. All this has done is made the situation worse. Well, I suppose he was on the island, so I've saved him from the Castaway, right?
Yeah, and I'll even say if you choose Castaway Tom Hanks, you get Wilson too as a companion.
What does eat to?
That's a line from the Terminal movie.
Eat to bite. Oh, oh yes, the Terminal movie. I've heard of it. I have a slight recollection. Sorry, I like to drop movie references without actually watching the thing. So yeah, I think I'll take the Wilson actually. How can that help me? Honestly, I'll be honest. Sometimes you need to admit defeat. There is no way that you're gonna hide from how big a Tyrannosaurus is, like 27 feet at a guess.
That sounds actually. I'm googling it now, and that's exactly how tall they are.
I mean, I'm no good at estimation, but I'd say Tyrannosaurus roughly 10,000 kilograms at an estimation, 6 meters tall. There is no way that I'm outrunning this thing. I would rather get it over with as soon as possible. Say hello to Tom. Love your films. Haven't really watched Terminal, sorry, but Captain Phillips was good, and I love the quote, "I am the captain now. Hey, you Irish, I am captain now." That's very popular in Ireland. That quote. Don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that. That's good. Movie trivia. What an insightful time this has been.
So yeah, that's as much information you're gonna get about me. I know it's not an option, but I'm just gonna zip off my neck and meet Tom Hanks, obviously, but then kind of just opt out of the situation. There's no winning. I'm sorry, but you've made an impossible task.
Oh man, that's a shame. I was really pulling for you. And honestly, the thing is, I'm gonna let people vote, even though you offed yourself.
Everybody, listen to me now. Let me survive, please. In the hypothetical scenario, it was so much easier to off myself, but now that this is real, please, I'm begging you.
Yeah, I did tell my wife yesterday that Tom Hanks from Castaway was the only right answer. So I feel like even no matter what they vote, I have to vote that you survive. Tom Hanks would zip your head back on. He'd tame that pigeon, and you guys would go find some more presidents and feed the pigeon. No, I think it would be good.
This is why I should have picked Saving Private Ryan, because then we'd have, a more experienced savior in our hands. But Castaway Tom Hanks doesn't know anything about stitching craniums back on.
That's true. There's no way he does.
No. Damn. Wait, so everyone wants me to survive? That's what the vote is?
It looks like it. Yeah, we're getting a lot of survive votes.
This is quite similar to real life in that the constant struggle of having to be alive is just a pain and a curse that I can't seem to escape.
Have you tried gluing pigeon feed to yourself?
No, although I do wear a duct tape mask, which is not too far of a stretch from. I mean,
Sure.
if the scenario ever required that I would do that, of course I would. But I suppose just haven't been in that particular scenario yet.
Yeah, I guess not. Awesome, man. I'm gonna call it. Looks like you survived. You and Tom Hanks lived happily ever
Yes.
after. Your
Oh,
giant
yeah.
giant pigeon and the president of Ireland's one remaining dog. He sends you postcards from his time, in the big pictures over in America. So you did it. You I think that's
Yes.
two out of three. So you won Battle Island. That name that the
Battle
game.
Island. So you've changed the
I
name.
I changed the
midway
name
through.
halfway through the game. Yeah, I don't even know how
You
that
put-
happened.
You put so much effort into the actual show itself that the name was lost in some sort of. I'll be honest. I'm trying to contact my audience now. Can you just say sorry, I know you have an audience. We have the listeners here on IMF, but I like to bring my own audience to shows because just to reinforce my
Yeah.
self-esteem, I suppose.
Always a
So could
good
you
idea.
just say the thing like you win? Could you say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you want me to put some like ceremony on it or just say it?
No,
Okay.
ceremony at all.
Well, Mr. PDF Pockethole, it looks like you win. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. All the PDF files out in force today. I'm just here on the IMF subreddit, everybody. I'm doing a bit of a. No. Everybody, no. Look, I know you're mad that I'm on another podcast. I'll be back on the Pockethole podcast every 2 weeks, okay? Be doing those zingers. We'll be talking about Tom Hanks and some funny scenarios.
Hey, you really won them over quick. That's
Yeah,
impressive.
I'm pretty good at. I know them. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's perfectly fine. I want to ask a few more things, then we'll listen to your last track. The thing that I really like to know about artists and people who just spend their time creating and communicating with people about creating. I think that's another very important part of being an artist. Is that moment when you decided to start not just making music but releasing it and putting yourself out there. I think. But why do you make music? Why do you go through this process?
I'll tell you, I was thinking about this during the week. It's kind of similar to why we're doing this interview, is that I just like to tell stories and I like to be entertaining. And I think when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of access to a lot of media. So I wasn't allowed to use a computer. I wasn't allowed to watch any shows or anything that were like above the age rating. So in Ireland, we have age ratings like 12 plus, 16 plus. So I was never allowed to watch anything that was 12 plus until I was 12. And that, looking back, limits how much content you can actually consume. But music was this like just weird medium where there's no, I want to say no censorship, but I mean kind of from my own household. I could have any album that I want. So I think I kind of got obsessed with CDs, and I really loved packaging and I loved concept albums, and I used to read the liner notes of albums like inside out. I was fascinated by record labels and what year an album was released and then the music that would follow it as a response. So for example, Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, I was fascinated by the cultural impact that had on
Yeah.
music throughout time. And it's more about the story aspect and immersing yourself into a world than it is actually about enjoying playing guitar or keyboards. And I suppose that's why I am PDF Pockethole, and that's why I can expand into podcasts and music videos, and it all makes sense. Is because I'm not just creating a funny song, I'm not just creating a cool track that has nice drums. It's like the core element of everything is I'm trying to tell you a story, and it has roots before now, and it will continue after now. It's not just a singular experience. not to sound extremely pretentious, but I think I got away with that by being such a absolute idiot in so many other aspects.
No, I think the privilege of an artist is to explain making art however they need to do so in that particular moment. And I don't think anything pretentious at all about really just digging in to ask yourself and explain to others the why behind what you do. I think that's a fantastic answer, honestly. Like the ability to create something that lasts longer than even you know, like this moment.
And it's about how much you can dig out of it. And you know, it's actually so strange because I was thinking about this interview during the weekend, how I would explain this to you. And I just keep thinking about a Fall Out Boy album that I enjoyed when I was a young teenager. And say what you want about Fall Out Boy's pop punk years, for me, that was an incredible escape into just this this reality that was only of its time. I mean, even Fall Out Boy now pretends that it never happened. But for an 11 or 12-year-old listening to those albums, they put so much work into the artwork, and they had websites that would kind of tell you more about the band, and they'd have little games and augmented reality kind of experiences. And I remember the whole experience of that album through the mystery of its packaging and like just always trying to research more information, listening to every interview. That's what gets me really excited. And I suppose that's the core philosophy of what I'm doing, and music is just one part of how I can achieve that.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I dig that. I am glad that this is being recorded. I can listen to that answer again and apply it more to my own just way of thinking. It's good.
That's actually a funny thing about an inadvertent consequence of the PDF Pockethole stuff is that on surface level, it sounds stupid, ridiculous, and you know, a fake celebrity Facebook profile. I got such backlash on the internet when I first released that, when I told people that I actually did that, you know.
Yeah.
But then when I make a song out of it, people assume that there's no way that could be real, you know. So I think the more you look into things, and when you do realize that the fake celebrity profile is real, that's when the journey actually begins. That's when you can start. Have you ever heard of fridge horror?
No, I have not.
It's this idea that a type of horror where you're at the fridge and you go, wait a minute, and you just think about a piece of media that you consumed like a day or two ago, and you're like, wait, did he actually make a fake Facebook page? That's the kind of genre that I'm going for, is that like surface level, it sounds ridiculous and almost like unintelligent. And it's not until a few days later where you actually think about the consequences for this person. Like, he wants to be famous so bad, and how would people recognize him on the street because he has the same name as a famous person? The more you look into it, you're like, wait a minute, what is this really about?
Yeah. Applying like a reality detector to a piece of fiction, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of like this interview. I might spout a load of nonsense, but I feel like there was a couple sentences that I dropped in there that are actually helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just your willingness to create so many things, to create such a universally experienceable persona. PDF Pockethole is more than a musician or a podcast host or a crazy video maker. Like you are like an entire character that can be engaged with at multiple levels. And I think your personality coming through in this interview shows that to kind of reach that level of engageable requires a lot of comfort and honesty with the things in your mind, both positive and negative things, you know, but both sensible and chaotic.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I mean, I'd love to say it was all planned to be this way, but it all kind of goes back to the fact of like I really haven't thought about anything very deeply. It's it's kind of like I live in my own reality, and I'm funneling the information to you through some sort of like digital conduit, and you do get the information. It is chaotic and confusing. You understand why it's made, but you don't need to think about it past that. Just
Yeah.
sit back and relax.
For sure, man. Well, I want to move into a little bit more of maybe the show's attempt to promote you better. So for the people listening live, for me, for anyone who might listen to this as a podcast later, what are you working on now, and how can we support you? Where should we follow you? What should we subscribe, listen to, tell our friends about as far as PDF Pockethole goes?
So I have a cabin in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and listen, I know it sounds suspicious, but seriously, I've formulated this new sort of cocktail of sorts called the PDF Pockethole, and in very rare circumstances, we've had some fans who have had spinal disconfigurations from the Pockethole. But if you want to come, okay, the address is in the Sierra Nevada mountains. You just come up here. We'll chill out for a few days. I'll show you a couple of videos, and you'll realize that it's better to stay here than it was at home.
Well, I'm
make
sold.
sense?
I'm sold. Yes, it makes so much sense.
But if you're not in the south of Spain, I suppose the easiest way would be to be on the internet. I do the Pockethole podcast. It's every 2 weeks, and it's kind of just like this show, except without you. It's just me.
Yeah. So there's nothing attempting to reel you back into reality on your podcast.
No. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Yeah, this is like, if you enjoy this, maybe this is the ideal kind of platform. But if you feel like it's like this is the gateway drug into the Pockethole podcast.
Yeah.
But I will say that I'm working on music at the moment, and I really want. Actually, you know what? Backtrack. This is the Stay Creative podcast, okay? Stay creative. And what do we want? We want a Stay Creative podcast. And the reason we want to stay creative is irrelevant. But how do we do that? I find it very hard to stay creative in COVID times. And that's actually what I just want to make that statement here today.
Yeah.
That it's okay. Even a guy like me who is off his nut can't think of an idea for a song in the past like 3 or 4 months. I've been working on this one song called The Great Anticipation for the whole COVID experience. And I wonder, I'm genuinely interested, people out there in the chat, am I the only one who just I forget how to listen to music properly? Like, you know, I used to listen to music on the bus, or you know, I'd go for walks. But recently I just feel so like confined in my own house and finding it so hard to just really make music in the way that I used to. And I know it'll come back round, but honestly, in the past few months, I've had like 3 music ideas, and that's the benefit of having the podcast and videos, is that I've just kind of said, you know what? I'm not really going to worry about music for a while, and I'm going to put all of my creativity into another thing, which I think is something that a lot of artists don't have the luxury of having videos and podcasts. But thankfully, I've made my music so personable in this weird way that it's kind of acceptable for me to just not make music for a while, because I have all these other things that are musically related. But one of the tracks I sent to you that I have finished, called Where's the Album, is a track that I'm really, really excited about. It's a collaboration with a guy called Toké Drift.
I like his it took me a few seconds of reading it to realize his name is Tokyo Drift, but it's just spelled.
He Irished it up.
It's spelled fancy. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that song up. I actually would like to play that for everybody. If you have a moment to maybe just introduce it a little more. We know that it is a collaboration.
Yeah, this song really needs explanation, because basically I have a friend, Toké Drift. He is the most amazing producer that I've met. He's from Dublin, and we just have a similar kind of way of making things. I would be more of a lyricist and a vocalist than a producer. although I put a lot of effort into production, it's just, I think where I really shine is lyrically and vocally. So this guy is the most amazing producer of all time. He asked me to do some vocals on his track, and I was like, this is a meeting. This is a meeting of the gods, I said to him.
Yeah.
And he agreed 100%. So this song, he has an album coming out, and I wanted to make the album more thematic. So I recorded a song from that he didn't want to put on the album because it was a bit too off color.
Yeah.
The humor was, it was going to get him in trouble. So I wrote a different song, which is a response to him cutting my song from the album, which he finds funny because it's an inside joke between two people that absolutely no one knows about. And essentially this song is me, what's the word? I'm invading the album. And I'm trying to figure out where the album is so that I can be on it without permission from Toké Drift.
I love it. I'm going to, again, feel free. Comment throughout if you need to, if you want to. I'm going to mute my mic and hit play.
Cool. So I'll tell you folks that I'm not going to comment too much because this song is so intense that it requires some concentration.
Does anyone know where the album is? Excuse me, do you know where the album is?
For sport.
Where's the album? Hey, I'm looking for the Toké Drift album, Sploosh.
Your name?
My name's PDF Pockethole.
Okay.
I got a message on Instagram about a collaboration, and I was told to come here.
And what is your song?
My song. It's about a seaside town that gets infested with rats. The seaside town moves away, but they accidentally move to Saudi Arabia. And then it just goes on like that, you know? So if you could just tell me where the album is.
Toké Drift does not want your song on his album.
Nah, you're lying. Where's the album? I need the collab. I'm tracking it down because I want it.
Just gonna have to get out of here.
Where's the album? I need the money. I'll track it down, yeah, I'll hunt it. Where's the album? I need the exposure. I was guaranteed that I would have my own track. I'm a special guest and I'm very expensive.
Calm down.
Wait, is this a chorus?
Yes, it is.
Man, why am I giving away one of my primo choruses when the Seaside song was scrapped? This is This is bullshit. Oh, right, so now you're gonna censor me too, huh? But how about I just don't say anything?
Okay, so are you ready?
No. Hey!
Yes.
Who else is on this album?
Julia Louise Knife Fist?
Give me his number. Julia,
Right, yeah.
did you get featured on the Toké Drift album?
Swoosh. Yeah.
Fuck!
Why, what's up?
Hey, Sick Namby,
Hey, PD, what's up?
are you featured on Sploosh?
Yeah, I'm doing a song on the Toké Drift album.
More like Toké Grift?
Did y'all call you?
No, he didn't.
I can give you his number.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
You have reached the offices of Toké Drift. Please hold. Thank you for your patience. Now, we are going to draw the bass.
Where's the album? I need the collab. I'm tracking it down cause I want it. Where's the album? I need the money. I'll track it down. Where's the album? I need the collab. I'm tracking it down. Where's the album? I need the money. I'm tracking it down, yo, hunter. Where's the album? I need the attention. I'm tracking it down. Where's the album? I need this, man. I'll pay you. Please. I'll do tracking. I'll do a drum and bass track. I don't care. Just have some fucking fun. Woo!
Toké Drift?
Toké, yes. No, yes. Toké, that's me.
Tell me, well, what is it?
Yeah.
Hello?
I got you. Google Drive, got it all. Yeah, we got a signal sample for you, baby. It's a great idea.
Yeah, a sample of hers.
It's gonna be good. You got a signal sample for you, baby. It's a great idea. Johnny Ward, and he said,
Johnny Ward, and what did he say? What does he say?
For sport.
And there we have it.
Fantastic.
So that's actually unreleased, and also that was just like a sample mix that I did. So don't tell anyone. Don't tell Toké Drift that I let you hear that.
I will not. Next time we have brunch, I'll say I've never heard Where's the Album. I've never heard it.
Yeah. In fact, I don't even know. I don't even know what Where's the Album is. I've never even heard of Where's the Album.
Yeah. Why would you even ask me that? Did you ask me that?
No, he didn't. You just brought it up.
No,
Don't
mercy.
worry.
It's okay.
He was distracted by the entree. So
yeah, it's good I have this practice to not bring that up. Awesome. I really enjoy that track. Like it energy wise, it's crazy because it starts extremely energetic, and then it only becomes more tense at times. I want to use the word tense. There's like this bass that comes in late, and not even a bass, like some sort of a synth that's like big. It feels almost on top of you, like you're sinking down into it the entire time. It becomes as desperate as the character being portrayed seems to be becoming as the song goes on.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I'm almost impressed with myself because Toké's stuff is so aggressive that I'm very competitive in that sense. It's like when I'm making my own stuff, it's just for me. But if I'm making stuff with him or, you know, with anyone in general, I need to like bring my A game. So when he sent me that track, I was like, all right, you do know that my competitive nature is going to turn this like. As crazy as your track is, I'm going to add things onto it that are hopefully going to just like send it over the edge.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I like to believe that he enjoys that one-upsmanship, right?
Well, you know what's actually funny is there's a lot of collaboration that goes on here in IMF, and I've been in the IMF subreddit since May 15th because I published my first track there as like one of the first subreddits that I ever joined as a musician, and there's a lot of collaboration that goes on here, and I never had as much fun making a track as I did with Toké Drift.
Yeah,
I'd just be sending them messages like, all right, so you know, what if we do the song and I call up the other people who are on the album and ask them if they got featured on it? And he's like, oh no, but you should ask them this, and like then I can be on it and I can say this. I'm like, oh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
what about at the start of the track we do this? And usually when I'm on my own, that conversation would have resulted in a heavy night of drinking.
Mercy. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Just that I feel like I hear often that collaboration is kind of to bring back your point, like a gateway into staying creative, you know. Or finding maybe just a way for ideas to get through what feels like a dead end or a speed bump or something, you know.
Yeah, and you know that's the thing as well about staying creative, as we like to talk about on the Stay Creative podcast.
That's right.
Hosted by Chris T-Rex Reeves. Chris Reeves. That is hilarious. That's Superman.
Yeah.
Staying creative. I've been having a tough period music-wise, but then doing this collaboration with Toké just absolutely like makes you change your perspective. And I think the overall most important thing about being able to stay creative is like kind of forcing rules upon yourself that you can't give up. So, for example, I have a podcast every 2 weeks, and that has helped immensely because I have to do it. And you probably know yourself, Chris, like sometimes you're like, oh man, I have a good idea, but I have to contact this person and I have to do this. But when you have to release it every second Tuesday, there's no time to not have an idea.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think if I did that musically, if I had to release music every 6 months, I would be releasing an 11-track album every 6 months. But I kind of I spread out my bird seeds. I put bird seeds in multiple locations.
Yeah. Well, I think that's another thing that I've heard successful or maybe just consistent creating people bring up is when you procrastinate from a project, procrastinate with another project. You know, like always have something worth doing to fill up your, quote unquote dead
That's
time.
exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do get a fair amount of people saying like, how do you create so much content? For me, I feel like I don't do anything because of how relatively infrequently, I don't release all types of media all the time.
Yeah.
But I do release something all the time. And I think for me, like the podcast initially started out as a creative distraction. And now it's turned into like, oh my good God, I'm actually quite good at this. So now it's taken more of a spotlight and the music is the creative distraction.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool though. I think it makes sense to not be too committed to what you think you are as a creator at times, because music's going to come back around and podcast will come back around after that. But if you agonized over creating a song and let your podcast just kind of be a bonus idea, then both would suffer. Both would go nowhere. Yeah. That's cool, man. Well, go ahead.
What you said there is like so important, is that like never limit yourself to just being a musician, because I kind of did that at the start and very quickly I realized how it just won't suit me in the long run. I mean, it's so hard to be just a musician and you have to rely on, like, how can you make money as a musician? Live performances and selling music. And before the quarantine, I was doing a tour around Europe, which is why I'm living in Spain, because I ended up getting stuck here during the tour and I ended up just staying. How am I supposed to make money off? How is anyone supposed to make money off music? You can't do live shows. You have to sell music. And that for me was like, thank God I'm doing the podcast and the YouTube videos all the time, because I mean, I would have a good time making music, but I would be dead ass broke beyond belief. Because I don't make music to sell it. I just make it to, as a product for people to enjoy.
Yeah.
So like, just don't. The more you learn about as well, making podcasts and videos, it changes your way of making music too. So you improve your editing, the way you see the actual waveforms and everything. Yeah, I would recommend, even if you have no interest in continuing it, at least try to make a video or at least try to do a podcast for your own enjoyment. And I guarantee next time you start making music, you'll start thinking of it in a different way.
Yeah, I've found that to be true too. I'm grateful you've said that. Well, I would like to. I've taken more of your time than I've ever taken from a guest. I'm very grateful for your time.
Hey, has the podcast started yet? I thought this was the preamble. You said we were going to do a mic test.
This is the warm up. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Well, I want to give folks an opportunity to maybe ask you questions in the chat, if you still have time for that. And while they are getting those questions ready, I like to ask guests for a piece of homework. So an album, a book, a movie, or a video game, just any piece of media that you think everybody should consume before they die.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have a great answer for you, and it's actually kind of a funny story. There's this book. I'll tell you the name of the book at the end so that you can remember it, and actually I'll write it in the chat too. There's this book by an Italian author, and I had it written down. I had the name of it in my phone. I have no idea where it came from, who wrote that name, where I heard about this book, but I was just in a bookshop once, and I ended up just going through my notes like things to read. And I picked up the book, read the blurb, and I was like, I love this. You know when you experience a piece of media for like 30 seconds and you know that you're going to be absolutely immersed in it. So the book is, and I'm gonna respond to the comments, questions in a sec. The book is On a Winter's Night, a Traveler by Italo Calvino. And basically, it's a book about someone who's trying to read the book that you're reading. So the person in the book picks up on a winter's night a Traveler in a bookshop, just like you are when you're reading the book. And it tells the story of the person who's reading the book. And I don't want to spoil anything, but essentially, I don't want to spoil anything because I've said that to a few people, and they've all come back and been like, I actually bought that book.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, just based on a simple premise. And Tone Deaf Jeff says, funny, when you said Italian author, that's immediately who I thought of. Same for me now. Like, it's been such an important book that Italian author, that Italo Calvino, first thing that comes to my head. So I think if you read that book, it'll explain a lot.
Yeah, I already feel like it reminds me of the entire PDF Pockethole universe that you've crafted. You know, like you're experiencing it and you feel like it's watching you a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool,
and
man.
It's funny because I had that kind of theme already, but then when I read the book, it just reinforces that. It's crazy that, I mean, so I come out with this stuff. I make fake celebrity Facebook profile and stuff. So people know that that's the kind of content that I enjoy. And I always get recommendations for the craziest stuff that you've never heard of, because someone out there will have found some random piece of media that's amazing, and they'll give it to me because they know that I'm a weird guy who enjoys that stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, books like On a Winter's Night, a Traveler, they're like the kid in school who encourages the bully, you know? They're like, go on, no, you're not weird. Yeah, go on, like keep on going. Great stuff.
That's awesome. Okay, it looks like we have a few questions coming in, so I'll ask them out loud, and then you can just kind of answer them. But
Okay,
what?
well, first, can I just say
Please.
that I have nothing to do today, so don't be worrying about wasting my time. I woke up at 4 p.m. It's 7 p.m. now where I am, and this is pretty much the first and last thing I have to do today. So work away.
That's fantastic. I will say this. The only reason I'm able to make this show is because my wife is wrestling our daughter. Without that, it would be she'd be here yelling. She's 8 months old. She's not like
Your
aware.
wife?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Young.
so I like to try to stick to some sort of timeline just so I can go up there and help.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing about having to care about another person is one of the drawbacks is that it kind of distracts from your personal enjoyment.
Yeah, right. It's back to the president of Ireland. You got to be ready for sacrifice if you're gonna become president of a family, right? Is that what we're talking about? Oh, what happened?
All right, let's
Oh.
get things going in the chat. Oh no, he's back, everybody! No,
I have no
We're
idea
having
what.
Such a good time.
I'm glad. I have no idea what just happened. But okay, first question. What inspired The Mask? Any Blind Boy or Rubber Bandits influences?
Oh yeah. So it's funny. Sorry. Yeah. Go on.
I was just gonna finish the question too. And do you think it makes it easier to be artistically free, hiding your identity in that way?
Sorry. Yeah. I just talk like at random points. So feel free to butt in at any
No.
moment. On your own show. I'm sorry. It's funny. This is one of the only times anyone has asked me that on Discord of all places, and I think it's because the Irish view of the Rubber Bandits is very more. Okay, well, let me just explain. The Rubber Bandits are an Irish comedy / hip hop act who were very popular around 2008, and now they have not a niche following, but like they're not mainstream, but they're definitely like very famous in Ireland. I think a lot of people from America know them because they wear masks, they wear shopping bags on their heads, and I think a lot of people are familiar with their big hits, that kind of thing. But as for the Rubber Bandits and their actual back catalog and, things like that, I wouldn't really be inspired by them or influenced by them. I mean, it's impossible to be an Irish artist who wears a mask and not be aware of everything that Rubber Bandits have done for that niche. But in a lot of ways, I would distance myself from anything that Blind Boy or Rubber Bandits do, because I don't want to be compared to them in any way. As you can kind of tell, I kind of pride myself on being the only PDF Pockethole out there. So, I would deliberately try and not walk into obvious comparisons with them. But having said that, David Campbell, who asked that question, very, very bizarrely, in a weird twist of fate, it was actually the Rubber Bandits who directly told me, the benefits of wearing a mask back in 2016, I think. I was at a show in Dublin, and long story short, I know someone who they know, and we ended up backstage. And I wasn't PDF Pockethole at this time, but I was asking Blind Boy about his advice on, how does wearing a mask benefit you? And the conversation that we had, I immediately flew back to Holland then the week after and made my mask and was like, I am absolutely going for this. The mask just has benefited me in every way. I love it. It's never a hindrance for someone who doesn't want their personal life tied with their art in any way.
Yeah. That's awesome. So it is like a liberating thing to make just whatever you want to make, because your identity is protected in some way.
Yeah, and I think it's not a matter of, so for example, if I make fun of people or whatever it is, people always go for the excuse of oh yeah, well it's very easy to make fun of people when you make a mask, when you have mask on your face. But it's not really a legitimate argument, because I would make fun of people even if it was just my face, but it's a human problem. When we have our own face attached to things, it affects you psychologically, personally. It's not about hiding from other people, but it's about helping me to understand what you see when you see PDF Pockethole. Because if you see me in my regular face, that's very different to what I think of myself as a person in my own personal life. And I don't want to get those two characters confused in any way.
Yeah. That's really interesting. That's important, I think. It's not something that I don't know. I think most artists have an artist name. Some people perform based on just their real name or some alteration of their real name. But the simplest thing of just having a T-Rex Jones name as opposed to being Chris Reeves all the time, it distances and allows me to decide for that character what might not be natural for myself in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. And
that's cool.
And every artist is putting on a persona, whether you acknowledge it or not. If you came out as Chris Reeves and you started making hip hop and bragging about how hot your wife is and how much you love your child, it might seem very honest and what Chris Reeves would say, but at the end of the day, it's just a segment of your personality, and it's the one that you decided to broadcast. So I mean, my stuff is very meta. I like everything to be playing out in the open. So that no one randomly sees a PDF Pockethole video where I'm crying because China have sent me rude messages. No one's going to watch that and think it's serious, because you can immediately see that this man is eating a banana, holding an oversized mic, and it's clearly a jokester.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, I've got two more questions I want to ask. One will be quick, and one is more of a request, I think. But if magic was real, what spell would you try first?
Who says magic's not real? What spell would I try first? I would make a spell that doesn't make me feel so lonely all the time.
So carving a homunculus out of your toenails and hair?
I was thinking more an IPA beer or something.
Yeah.
But, and a Discord chat, but your idea is good too.
Yeah, fantastic. The next question, actually, I think you honestly would do well as just a recurring member of this
Yeah.
IMF community, man. It's a place where everybody collabs with everybody, and we all show stuff to each other and celebrate it with each other. You know, I love that about this
I
community.
need to get more. I need to get more into the community. The only problem is I'm so bad at understanding the internet, and it's also another reason why it's so amazing that I have a following, because I'm so like, I know how to use Instagram to an extent, but that's roughly about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get in with the IMFers. What's up, MFers?
Yeah, exactly. I've looked for ways to accentuate the MF and IMF whenever I refer to people in this group. But anyway, yeah. So AV, or Av, some folks call him, would like to know if you will perform at open mic today, which is something we do here on the IMF Discord. Basically, you just live stream yourself through Twitch or through Instagram Live or whatever, and you do 7-minute set or however much of 7 minutes you want to do. I think it would be awesome.
Okay, well, so do I have to play music?
Not at all. You get 7 minutes. I mean, we
wow.
kind of prefer music at the open mic, I think, but people have done strange things too.
Oh, because yeah, I'd like to do something more strange. The problem is, sorry, I'm just reading. Someone says I'm an MFer. I like that, and I like fandom names. PDF Pockethole fans are the PDF files. Just so
Nice.
anyone knows, if you want to be a PDF file, just send me a message. You can enter the ring. But open mic, yeah. Let me think about it. I'd like to do that today, but I always thought you had to play music, and my problem is that I don't have my guitar and stuff. 'Cause I'm over in Spain. I was on tour, and I just had a select few bits of equipment, and I can't get back to Ireland to get my stuff. So I might improvise something. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
heck
time
yeah.
do you usually do it?
I think it is minutes from now. I think it's like 15 minutes from now. Yeah.
15.
Which I feel very bad that I've gone on so long and kept you so long. But I think at this point I will work towards ending the call, man. If you have anything else you'd like to say, the floor is yours,
Yeah.
and then we'll say bye.
All right, well, you know me, I'm not much of a talker. I don't really like to, I don't like to have the spotlight. But if I was to say something, I'll say this. It's been a delight to be here with all you folks. I know I'm kind of reclusive when it comes to like getting involved with communities and stuff, but please coerce me into doing stuff like the open mic. I'm very, very happy to do that, but I'm also very stupid. The things that I do, if you're just wondering, like, if you want to hear more of this stuff, Pockethole Podcast is on all podcast platforms. I mostly put music on Bandcamp because I don't have a Spotify subscription, and I don't like the idea of people listening to my music when I can't, So there's some stuff on Spotify, but there's like an album called Sequence 2. Sorry, look at me trying to promote my own thing and I stumble over my words. I have an album called Sequence 2 that's on Bandcamp, and I'm very proud of it. And a good man called Flynn's Ego enjoys it. He's an IMFer. And don't know why I mentioned that, but just shout out to Flynn's Ego. He's a good guy.
He is, yeah.
You know him?
Oh yeah, Flynn. He actually does another, and I imagine maybe you've made an appearance on Flynn's podcast, the Ego Speaks.
I haven't made an appearance because me and Flynn have we have a thing going on between us. He has private images of me, and
no.
I don't like to bolster his image. So if we can just move away from the Flynn's Ego conversation.
Understood.
You know what? Let's just end the show there. Let's just end it right now.
Okay. Well, I have appreciated your time. I've appreciated everyone for listening and your contributions and questions. I hope to see you all in 12 minutes at open mic. Go ahead and pre-sign up PDF Pockethole. I feel like he's only warmed up from our conversation. He's not done with what he needs us to know. So,
I have only just begun.
so that being said, everybody, thank you for your time, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, sir.
Peace.